Well, I feel very honored to be here, having you here, listening to us, and honored because it's the first time I have the opportunity to show with my friends, with my artist Venezuelan friends. So for me, this is a very special exhibition. I am really thankful of Veronica Ballarino, who put us together, Christine, and Angie. Thank you very much. Well, my name is Lorena Morales. I am a visual artist, multidisciplinary visual artist now, currently living in Houston. I am also from Venezuela. I am from Maracaibo on the west side of Venezuela. We moved here almost 20 years ago, like most of the immigrants looking for better opportunities for our families. And back in Venezuela, I grew up in an art environment. My mother is a visual artist, and she owned an art gallery for many years. So I grew up looking at art and taking art classes, but for me it was a hobby at the time. I studied business, and I worked in the business area for many years. So when we moved here, it's like, okay, kids to school, husband to work, and Lorena, okay, what I will do at the home, not speaking English. So, but I am lucky enough to have a smart husband that start looking for something for me to do. And then one night he asked me, maybe it's your time to pursue your art career, something that you have been really passionate about. So he helped me. He took me to the Glassell School of Art of the Museum of Fine Art, and he enrolled me in art classes. Because of course I didn't speak English. So I got a certificate in painting and sculpture, and also I learned English while taking art classes. So all my art practice is related to home and cultural identity. And I refer a lot to memories, nostalgia, and ever-evolving expectations. At the beginning of the first works I did was the house shape present, but they were more related to the architecture I remember from my birthplace, the colonial houses in Maracaibo, Venezuela. That is kind of a little different. It's like, okay, this is the shape, the one I am using now is the shape that when you ask somebody to draw a house or a home is the basic shape. 20 years ago, I was more doing the shapes of the colonial houses that they are flat at the top and elongated. So I did many series talking about rediscovering utopia, talking about my birthplace and how was affected. Like we are happy people. We live in a happy place, but however, we are struggling with all the, well, like Luisa said, all the political, social situation that we need to go through every day. I have still family living there. I have my mother, siblings, nephews, nieces, everyone. So for me, it's really close because I feel this, distance hitting me. Okay, then in 2019, we have the opportunity to move to Angola in Africa. So what was happening just before I moved to Africa? Before I moved to Africa, my work was going in a direction more minimalist, more focused on the color. And all my work always, what it has in common is the line, color, movement, and the work with light and shadows. When I moved to Africa, I need to go back to the basics. And then I was also experimenting, exploring a new home and a new cultural identity with a new language. They speak Portuguese. So I also was very fortunate to live, next to the Congo River. So I started working, going back to the basics, to drawing. I was working on a plexiglass when I moved there, but of course, there I didn't have the same materials. I went back to the basics and started drawing. Did my series of work inspired in the movement of the Congo River. Then COVID happened, then moved back to Houston. So then at home, I didn't have opportunity to go to my studio, nothing, and then I started developing more these drawings that later I called topographies of a place to know. Before was the topography, were the topographies back in Africa, then they were the topographies of my home that I thought I knew, but I didn't really knew because then I was confined with 6 more people in this space, and then another kind of home came. You know? So I started working on mock-ups of these houses, talking about this, okay, I am here, then I am still here, and then I start working about the emotions that being enclosed were appearing. After confinement finished, then I start doing the works on plexiglass, so then I went back to my initial material that was plexiglass, but then incorporating the drawings. So then I started, I just have 3 minutes, so I need to go faster. Okay, then I start for mock-ups, then I start building these houses. Each house represents an emotion that we went through during the pandemic. Then after this, I start taking pictures of them, and then I really like what was happening when they were flat. So I start working on the shelters. So first mock-ups, 3D work, 2D.5. I coupled 2D.5. Then they came the ones that they have, they are my home in Africa, that they are with the fabrics I brought from Africa. And then the new ones are these guys that are with a vintage wallpaper, and also coming from the shelters, also telling about memories and talking about how memory is not something exactly. Memory is something that we create with bits of like we put together. So you will see that the wallpapers on the back and the front are modified because it's a way that memory works. And then now, then I have this interactive mural that invite you to leave your mark, to write, to draw. You can do anything you want to help me finish the imperfect home. And well, thank you again for being here and for staying.